Hey friends, welcome to another video on Tableau. I'm going to teach you how to create a frequency distribution chart and a frequency distribution table, which are very important to know in both the statistics and data analysis and visualization, because they help you uh, uh, populate a frequency or the number of times that a value occurs in a variable in your data set. To start, it's important to understand that frequency distributions can work with measures and also with numerical categorical data. So if you would like to create a range or cluster of your numerical data, whether those data are measures or distinct dimensions, you can do that instead of just having a large set of distribution in a variable. And I'm going to use age, a variable, to create a frequency distribution around age, and then show you how you can expand on it. But just this video will be only covering the basics of creating the chart and creating the table. But there's so much you can do with a frequency distribution chart and table to add additional layers of calculations and measurement. But as long as you know how to build the basic chart and table, should be able to pave the ground for additional improvement on both table and the chart. So let's begin. The first thing you need to do is to create what we call bin. Bins actually allow you to classify or divide your distribution of that variable into categories before, or into frequency categories, so that before you're able to plot that into a frequency distribution histogram chart. So let's go ahead and create the bin. In Tableau, this is much easier than other programs and tools, especially the fact that we don't have to write script or syntax. So to create a pin, right click on the variable, on the measure variable, and then click on create and click on bins. So once you're on the bin box, Tableau asks you to assign a name, in which case we can say frequency of each distribution, and then ask you for the size of the bin. So size of the bin is pretty much each of the bins or each of the column of your distribution. What should be the size of it? So Tableau looks at the variable, and based on the variable, it assigns it a bin. So in our case, let me just copy this. I'll be able to paste it back so I don't lose it. In our case, age, as you can look at the description of this variable, is a continuous measure that goes from 18 to 75. So based on this range of minimum 18 to maximum 75, Tableau introduce you or suggest to you a bin that's most fit to your variable, in which case it suggests 4.28 for us. It will be an ideal bin size, but I wouldn't take this because it will create a lot of histogram bin columns that will not be very effective in this specific demonstration. So I would say I would like to have only a few bins here. So in that case, I will go with 19. So again, our variables ranges from 18 to 75, and the differences, which is the difference between the minimum maximum, is 57, and the count is 58. So I decided to go with 19, and then click on OK. As soon as you do that, you automatically create a new variable, and it's a dimension variable, and you would see that it has this symbol, this histogram symbol or icon here created next to it. So once you have the bin created, it's a good practice to change the aliases, because Tableau automatically, as you can see, assigns the highest value in the bin. So it's better to actually reassign labels or aliases to them. Actually, I made a mistake here. I was going to assign 20. Yes. There you go. So that would be our frequency, the assignment of the bins. The next thing to do is, again, it's important to, as I said, to assign aliases, because Tableau just provides you the highest point in your bin. So instead, we need to elaborate what those labels mean. So 0 could be say something as between 0 and 19. And then 20 could say something as 20 to 39. And 40 would say something as 40 to 59. And then 60 will say something. And I forgot, I have the greater or equal symbols, or below or equal symbols. I tried to use my keyboard code. I couldn't get it to work on my computer for some reason. So I'm going to use these for the aliases here. For 0 to 19, I'll just put um, either below or equal to 19. And for the 60, I'll put 60 or above. There you go. So I have one, two, three, four different bands, or four different frequency categories that I'll be using in my chart, histogram chart, and my distribution table. Click on OK. So now you're ready to plot your chart and your table. So simply drag and drop your variable onto your rows. And as soon as you do that, you're able to introduce the second measure, in which case I would go with quantity order and plot that onto a column. And bingo. As you can see, now we have a frequency distribution histogram chart of the age distribution that it ranges from uh, 0 to 19 for the first bin, 20 to 39 for the second bin, 40 to 59 for the third bin, and 60 or above for the last bin. You probably wonder that I assigned the size of 20, then why do I have a 19 here? Well, 0 also actually counts as an index, as a number. So 0 to 19 counts as 20 indices, or 20 bins. And so 20 to 39, it looks like it's 19 numbers, but if you count 20, and if you also count 39 uh, 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 completed 39, it will count. It's actually 20 numbers. Trust me, I had a hard time understanding this too when I was introduced to basic arithmetic and statistics when I was going to high school. But same thing with 40 to 59. It's 20 indices here, and pretty much 60 or above. So there you go. Now um, you have your frequency of age distribution. If you want, you can also bring the labels here. And in fact, let's not use the age because it aggregates to the sum of it. So let's just use the quantity order. There you go. You can do the same thing with a frequency distribution table. As long as you have your bin variable created, it makes the job easy. Just simply bring the variable onto your row shelf. Then instead of introducing your second variable as a separate in a column, or as a separate dimension, just introduce it on the same level, except that make sure it's not a continuous measure. Instead, it's a discrete. That's one of the ways. Or just simply place it onto your text box. And there you go. You now have your frequency distribution table, which again, uh, the orders that were put in by people of 19 years old or below is 32,184. The orders that were put in by people of by customers whose age range between 20 years old and 39 is so on. Thank you so much. My battery looks like it's shutting down. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you learned something from this video.